Imagine two students are studying for an exam coming up in 10 days. One student studies for 10 hours in the final day, and the other student studies for one singular hour every single day for 10 days. Which student do you think will get more marks in the examination? It's the second student. It's not the student who studies long, it's the student who studies consistently. And in this video, I'll teach you exactly how to study consistently by my minimalist study approach. Hi, I'm Manvik. I help Indian students like you get more marks while studying less. Let's get started. I want to start off by a little point. Why does consistency matter in the first place? You see, when you study for consistently over a prolonged period of time, you will actually build a routine of studying in your everyday life. Studying will not be something that you find hard to do. If you are consistent with your studies, you will think that studying is a part of you, and it will not be hard to study. It's is your brain will retain more information when you study consistently rather than in one night. As I said in the intro, I took an example of student studying in 10 hours. Do you think he will be able to remember all the information he studied? Probably no. But the other student who studies for 1 hour every single day, do you think he will be able to remember whatever he studies? Probably yes, because your brain remembers more information when it all in consistent periods of study sessions, not in one single marathon. And by studying consistently, by the way I tell you in this video, you will actually score more marks in your examination. Now let's get into the actual part of the video. How to be consistent in your studies. Well, to be consistent in your studies, there is only one and only thing that you need to study consistent every single day. That is, you have to start small. Yes, that's it. To study consistently every single day, you have to study less. It's a no-brainer, right? Say you want to study 16 hours every single day. You will not be consistent with that much hours of studying. When you study for 16 hours every single day, you will get burned out in 1 to 2 weeks. That's maximum. But will you get burned out of 1 to 2 hour studies every single day for 3 months? Probably no. That's why you need to start small as you study. You don't need 14 to 16 hours every single day to score more marks. You just need 3 to 4 hours of consistent studies over a prolonged period of time. And this is so powerful, but people yet neglect this. If you want to take something away from this video, this is it. Study small. That's it. In small amounts of time. Of course, you don't need to do it for the rest of your life. You should improve every single week or every single study session. Like, you should not be studying like 1 hour every single day of exam. That's very good, but you still have to improve. Like, if you would study one chapter in 1 hour, increase that to two chapters in 1 hour. That's very big, but the point is you have to progressively overload your study times, or the intensity of the study session. And there are various methods to do that. First of all, you could include more topics in that study session, or you could do more question practice in those study sessions. Like, most people neglect this, but you will learn more in question practice than actual studying itself. When you study a topic, go do some questions of that you will learn more in that questions than studying that topic 10 times. So use your time effectively. If I put a gun at your head and said you only had 3 to 4 hours every single day to study, what would you study? That's a good question to ask, right? Ask this question to yourself right now. If I put a gun to your head and said you can only study for 3 to 4 hours every single day, what would you study? That's a question that I want you to ponder. And another benefit of studying less is you will not be stressed. Yes, most people relate stress to studies. because they think in order to score more marks you need to study 16 hours 18 hours every single day, and I'm not able to study 16 to 18 hours a day, so I'm not going to score marks. This leads to stress. That is completely foolish. Think about this for a second. A guy studies for 3 to 4 hours every single day and still scores more than the guy who studies for 18 hours every single day. And what is the mental state of the 18-hour guy right now? He'll be fucking stressed as fuck. He'll be not able to go sleep. According to him, he did work hard. Yes, 18 hours studying is not an easy task. But the 3 to 4 hour guy still still scored more marks than this 18 hours guy. So the point here is, when you study less, you will actually score more marks. So you will be less stressed. And the opposite is also true. When you study more hours every single day, you will score less marks. And when you score less marks, you will feel stressed, bro. You will not be wanting to study. Like, imagine this. Currently, let's assume you don't like studying, but I force you to study 3 to 4 hours every single day, right? And you score more marks, better marks in the examination. Do you think you will want to study after that, or do you still don't want to study? Most probably you will want to study after 3 to 4, after getting more marks. Or you don't want to study, but I still force you to study for 14 16 hours every single day, but you still score less marks. Do you Will you be motivated to study after that? The answer is no. When you study for less time and you score more marks, you will be more motivated to study. There's a rule called 80-20 rule. That is, 80% of your results come from the 20% of the actions, and 20% of the results come from the 80% of the actions. That is so true. Because when you study less with more intensity, we are I'll tell you how to increase intensity. When you study less, you that is a 20% of the 80-20 rule. You get more percentage of the results. I'll give you an example. Say there are 20 chapters in an exam. The exam is for 40 marks, and 30 marks from the 40 coming from 7 of these chapters, and 10 marks are coming from 13 of these chapters, and you only had 3 to 4 hours every single day. Which chapters would you tackle first? Are these the 13 chapters or these 7 chapters? If you have 2-digit IQ, then you will say that you will tackle the 7 chapters first. That is very good, because you are putting least amount of effort in the most rewarding task, which the reward here is marks. So in turn, studying less will give you more marks. It will also give you less stress. And this another point is how another step on how to stay consistent is, when you stay consistent and you tick off your study sessions every single day in your tracker, you'll be more motivated by these small wins. Like, think about this for a second. You made a planner, you made a habit tracker, right, of studying every single day. And by staying consistent, you tick off all those study sessions. Do you I want to ask you this question: will you be motivated after taking that study session, or will you be demotivated after taking that? If you are a healthy human being, you'll be motivated, right? You'll be motivated by these small little wins. And let me tell you, these small wins will accumulate and compound into the examination marks. That is so important. Like, I want to repeat it. When you These small wins will compound itself into those big marks in the examination. Like, there's a quote, I don't know who said it, but small small wins equal to big results. I don't know if it's a quote or something as well, but these small wins will keep you motivated as fuck. Like, say you have I'm taking two students analogy again. Say you have to you want to study 16 hours every single day, and you study for the first day. Great job, you'll be motivated again. You will do it again. Second day you study for 14-15 hours. That's pretty good. You give yourself a thumbs up. You will be motivated again, you do it. But in the third day, you study for 10 hours. Do you think you'll be motivated after studying 16-14 hours and coming back to 10 hours studying again? No, right? You'll be demotivated as fuck when you study less hours, having a goal of 16 hours every single day. And imagine this now. Now you have a goal of studying 3 to 4 hours every single day. And in the first day you study 3 hours. That's pretty good. You are feeling motivated again. So you do it again. You study for 3 hours. You're motivated again. You study for 3 hours again. This cycle never stops. When you study less hour, there is a loop of reward and result. So after you completed the task of studying 3 to 4 hours every single day, that's the result. That gives you the reward of motivation, and this motivation motivates you to do the result again. So this loop never ends, and it's very good because when you study less and these small wins accumulate, you will you will you will score more marks in the examination. My point here is, when you study less and these small wins accumulate, you will be more motivated to study. That's it. So the two things today we learned today is, if you want to be consistent in your studies, you have to start small and study small. You have to progressively increase the intensity. And the second point here is, when these small wins accumulate and compound, that will result to the more marks in the examination. And right now I'll give you a small tip on how to increase the intensity. Say you are solving 10 questions in 1 hour. Increase that to 12 questions in 1 hour, 15 questions in 1 hour. Or you are able to complete one lecture in 2 hours. Complete the lecture in 1.5 hours, 1 hour. That's my challenge. I mean, you have a lot of ways to increase the intensity. I'll leave it up to your creativity for this video. And by the way, if you want my exact routine on how I study less hours in the day and still score more marks in the examination, then click the link in the description. The price is very, very low for the first people taking that course, and it will increase only after then on. It's very cheap, it's very affordable, but the first people get it for that, and after that, the price will increase. And that's it for the video. I'll see you in the next one. Keep growing. Goodbye.